We are talking about the relationship between emotions and how sometimes we can understand our emotional experience better by thinking about combinations of emotions, how we experience things kind of as a layered experience. It's part of being human. There's a bit of complexity and depth to our emotional experience. And in particular, when we think about the emotion of love, in this particular theory, it says that love is the combination of joy and trust. When we have an experience of joy and trust at the same time, it combines together to create that emotional experience of love. And of course, the way that I like to teach things is always starting with the experience within yourself. When we think about our relationship to ourselves, creating that connection to a sense of inner joy, we could think of this as the kosha layer of bliss, of that unshakable sense of internal joy. And then the experience of self-trust, which is something that we're always working on cultivating and strengthening when we're in our practice. It's this baseline of saying, I will always listen to myself, I will always honor my needs, and I'm never going to ignore or steamroll when my body tells me that I need something. When my nervous system tells me that I need something, I'm going to listen and be respectful of that. That's how we build that self-trust. So as we work through the practice today, seeing how we can create a greater connection and awareness to the experience of joy and trust within ourselves, so we have this alchemy of love. Okay, let's rub the hands. Start to gather your attention, creating a really strong lift through the spine, lightness through the head, and we start to connect to the breath. A couple big deep breaths. You're finding support from the breath so that our opening chant, the Adi mantra, is going to be powerful. And today we're going to explore the experience of what does it feel like to chant from your heart. Okay, big deep breath. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Taking a moment to pause after that chant, after that connection to wisdom. And today we're creating this greater connection to a heartfelt wisdom. It's this compassion, this love-based self-understanding that comes from that connection to joy and trust. Okay, we'll drop the arms down. So we're going to start with a standing warm-up, a little bit of a cleansing movement practice. I love to start with a cleansing movement to kind of drop the residue, let go of some of the things that are stuck to us from throughout the week. So a little bit of a shake, arms and legs, just kind of wiggling it out to let go of some of that physical tension. Maybe a couple strong breaths. This is that space to drop whatever you need to let go of. And then we're going to start to move through the body with some soft circles, starting with the neck. And I'm just going to drop my chin down and do a half circle, rolling toward one shoulder and rolling toward the other shoulder. So check in with your neck, see how it's feeling. I tweaked my neck the other day, so I'm going really slowly and gently. If your neck is feeling really good and you want to do a full circle, if that works for you, you can. And then we'll come back into center, one big powerful breath, like you're gathering all the tension from your neck. Showing that tension how it can leave. And then we'll move into some big shoulder circles. The circle is starting from the shoulder, but you can get the whole arm involved. The breath is that release valve, using it whenever you need to let go of something. Okay, drop the shoulder circles. We're going to bring the hands onto the hips and think trunk and upper body starts to scoop forward and around. Very curious internal awareness. Where am I holding or resisting that I can very gently start to invite softness? And this is that first step in building self-trust. Whatever my body tells me, I'm going to listen to it. Take a pause, circle the other direction. What is here that my body wants me to know about, wants me to notice? Come back up to center, maybe a little wiggle, and then we move down to the pelvis. So there's a bit of a weight shift here. We're going to shift the pelvis toward one side, scoop it toward the front, over to the other side and back, creating this big circle around the pelvis. And I think of like scooping the sides of a big container. Really exploring the edges. And then take a little pause, switch and circle the other way. Sensation might change as the direction changes. Noticing that. And last circle with the pelvis. Coming around to the middle. Okay, so we're going to do a hip circle, just a couple on each side. You can lift the leg up and circle backwards. And if you need to hold on to something, maybe getting a little help from a wall. Okay, then go ahead and switch to the other leg. Feeling your way through that round ball and socket joint. It's one of those places, anything kind of around the hip girdle, the pelvic girdle, there can be a lot of gripping. So we don't try to fight the gripping, we just see if we can invite some softness there. Okay, a little shake for the legs. And we move down to the knees, and although we can't actually circle, this is a hinge joint, so we can't actually circle it, but we're just going to bend the knees and kind of think if you could steer your way through a circle with your knees, around and back. And what you will see is this really lovely dynamic relationship between the feet and the floor. It's great for your ankles and your toes. A little bit of a brain exercise too, trying to figure out how do I steer through that circle. All right, couple in each direction. And we'll come down to the last part, which is also a little bit of a balance exercise. Just lifting up one foot, circle the ankle and the toes a couple times. And then go ahead and switch to the other side. Okay, come back to standing. A little bit of a shake. Shaking through the arms. Alternate bending one knee and the other knee so you get this little bounce. Use the breath to let that go. Peel those layers of resistance away. We get closer and closer to that core of ourselves. Let yourself find stillness. Drop slightly into your heels and then feel this sense of lengthening as you inhale up through the body, up through the spine, up through the crown. It's that central channel of awareness that we work on so frequently. Okay, here we are in our practice. We've gone through this process of kind of scrubbing these different areas of the body like a little massage. We're going to bend the knees, bring the hands onto the tops of the legs, working through a standing cat and cow here. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, scoop the heart back. How is the back feeling today? That curious awareness. Our body can tell us anything that it wants to through that information of sensation, and we are here to notice and acknowledge it. Really watching that swing of the heart forward and back, because we are working on a very heart-based focus today. Good. Last couple breaths here. Taking your inhale, straighten up through the body. It's that little sinking down into the heels. Inhale, feel that line of lift all the way up through the crown of the head. Arms just hang relaxed. Standing here for a moment, just being completely here without having to do anything. Little feeling of spaciousness, that connection to being. And we're going to transition down into sitting. You might sit on a block or a folded blanket to give a little bit of height to the hips. But it's really any comfortable seat that helps you to feel grounded, but you can also lift through the spine. Okay, we're coming into our trunk rotations, and we're going to take the hands into fists and frame the heart. Like you're going on either side of that energetic heart center. Inhale, lift tall through the spine, and we start to rotate left and right. The whole rib cage is turning. We work that very gentle warm up, like you're on the on-ramp. Slow, easy turns. And then see how your body starts to warm up. You might pair this with a very powerful breath and a very powerful movement, but let your body tell you what it needs. When we're working into our pace, it's almost like you were trying not to think too hard about it. It's almost like we take the brain and we place it over to the side, and instead we are listening to the trust and the information that comes from our body. It is that innate wisdom. The body will let you know what it needs, where it wants to work. Can I listen to that information that comes from the body? Can I lean into the support of the breath? It is always there for me. Last couple movements here. Feel that strong center line, that awareness of the heart right in between the hands. When we feel rooted into that internal experience of joy and trust, we are able to cultivate that loving relationship with ourselves. All right, slow it down. Come into center, lift those elbows, keep that frame around the heart. Big inhale. Fill the lungs, feel that space like you're framing the heart with your breath. Hold, lift, and let it go. Release the arms, give it a little shake, a little wiggle to let go of the effort. Drop into that space of stillness, keeping your inner awareness on the heart. What is that internal feeling of joy? You might have to dig a little bit deep. It is down quite a few layers. Where is that unshakable inner experience of joy? Okay, so you might stay in this sitting position, or you might switch to another one. I'm just going to change the cross of my legs for a little bit of balance. We're going to take the arms up to our big V, and we start to focus on the hands. So the movement is fingers closed. The pads of the fingers are trying to touch the bottom of the hand. There's very much this open and close flapping movement, with the arms perhaps at this big V shape. And we always think about the arms as like antennas, where we're drawing energy in, we're trying to charge up the heart-centered energy. And I like to think about this movement almost like the fingers are kind of like, come here. Gather the energy, pull it towards your heart. We are creating that energetic support for our internal experience of trust and joy. Where is that within myself? And then you might start to pair the movement of the hands with your breath. Inhale, open, exhale, closed. Use the belly to pump and charge up that energy at your center. If the hands or the wrists start to get tired, you could always straighten the fingers and keep the breath going. We have these layers of choice. If the arms get tired, the arms can drop. You might keep the breath going. And it's always a question of when the body gets tired and the body asks for rest, we absolutely honor that and listen to it. We are building trust in that body wisdom, right? But we think about what the key of this movement is. What is that energetic key that we're working on? And it's charging up the heart. So as long as you are still focused at the heart, you are still actively engaged in the movement. All right, last couple here. Keep that focus at the heart, like you're pulling in the energy, charging up that little battery at the heart center. That compassion, that support of self-love. Inhale, stretch the arms, stretch the fingers, lift the face, really long and open position with the body. Hold the breath in, stretch at the edges. Exhale. Let that effort go. Let yourself settle. Okay, right into the next movement. We're doing this series of 3 that are very heart-based, and I'm just going to switch my seat a little bit. So feel free to find your solid base. We bring the arms into the sides, and this time we're kind of hugging the elbows into the sides. And then it is a reach, like you're punching out toward the sides. And we pull into the heart like the palms are framing the sides of the heart center. Exhale out to the sides. Inhale, center, get really tall. Exhale, push out to the sides. Honor the feeling in your shoulders. Make sure that your body is okay with the movement you are asking it to do. That you are listening to and honoring the needs of your body first. And then we build the movement and the shape on top of that. Perhaps transitioning toward an open mouth exhale, that cannon breath. Very powerful. What do I need to let go of that gets in the way of me trusting myself? What do I need to let go of that gets in the way of me feeling connection to my own inner joy? Last couple breaths here, really powerfully, creating that space, letting go of those barriers. Last one. Open the hands, fold them over the heart, bow the head. When we let go of the things that create space or block us from that sense of inner trust, that sense of inner joy, when we let those go, that sense of inner connection becomes very natural. Okay, third part of this heart-based set is taking the arms forward. And I'm going to turn sideways so it's a little easier to see. And actually, I'm going to switch my legs. Okay, so maybe if you don't want to sit cross-legged anymore, you might sit up on your feet. We're going to come forward and bring the hands into fists, making small circles with the arms. And the circle is coming from the shoulder, very much the upper back, the shoulder blade. 2 circles, like we're mixing this space right out in front of the heart. If this doesn't work for your shoulders, you might bring your arms closer and do wrists. Very similar movement. Whenever the body doesn't feel like that movement is working for it, we can find another way to stay connected with the essence of that movement without overwhelming or disregarding the information that comes from our body. Always listening to that. Slow, supportive breath. Like every cycle of breath is helping you to create that stronger and stronger connection within yourself. We'll think for a moment about what that process of building trust is. It is really built on a foundation of listening deeply, listening and honoring the needs, whether it's for yourself or someone else. That is how we build trust. All right, last couple movements, whether you're circling the wrists or the shoulders. Feeling that comfort of knowing that you are crafting the practice that is exactly what you need today, whatever that looks like. This is really the expression of self-love. Okay, let the arms drop down. Give a couple little shrugs to the shoulders, and then find somewhere that the arms can rest and feel supported. We did this 3-part series of working with the heart. We take that moment to reflect. When we do these movements with the body, when we do these breath practices, creating that personal relationship with your practice by noticing what it shifts within you. Okay, so we're going to move into a nice little creative closing for this set. Maybe coming back to cross-legged or any other comfortable seat. We're going to do a little round of breath work to close this out. So the breath is the Satali pranayama, the breath through the tongue, the rolled tongue. If you're able to curl the edges of your tongue to create a little straw-like shape, we will inhale slowly across the tongue, close the mouth, and exhale through the nose as this cooling breath. If you're not able to roll your tongue, that's okay. Some people don't have that control of the tongue. And you just do the best you can to draw the air in across the top of the tongue so it feels cool. And then exhale through the nose. As you work through a couple rounds of this breath, drawing that cool air in, releasing the breath through the nose. It's like we're gathering in this sense of support and connection to yourself. When we have that internal connection to our layer of joy, when we have a framework within ourselves of trust, that next step of having a really caring, loving relationship with yourself is the result of that joy and trust meshing together. And I like to talk about the everyday superpowers that we get from yoga and the experience of kindness and friendliness toward yourself truly is like an everyday superpower. Okay, last breath here. And we'll make our way down to a resting place so that we can soak this in. As you come down, as you take this transition to place your body onto the mat, I always think of this as this self-compassion in action. Very slow and thoughtful movements to make sure that you are placed in just the right way to feel supported, to feel rest. It's a very caring action that we give toward ourselves. How do I need to settle my body to feel that sense of support? And then as we start to transition into this stillness, I'll give you a point of focus for the mind. To have this connection to inner joy, to feel trust within yourself, there is no requirement to be perfect. Sometimes we get a little stumbling block there of, well, I don't trust myself because I've made mistakes or I've chosen the wrong path in the past. But that is absolutely just an expression of us being human. There is no requirement for being perfect. We can trust ourselves. We can feel a connection to that unchanging inner joy, no matter how human and messy we are. Let that soak in for a moment. Taking your last couple of breaths here, like you are soaking in that sense of friendliness and caring toward yourself. And then it's this checking in, this asking of, how do I want to move? How do I want to come out of stillness? Is it the hands and feet? Do I want to stretch or move in any particular way? These little places in our practice where we strengthen that internal communication and trust. And eventually bringing yourself toward that place of hugging the knees in. Maybe resting and feeling that sense of stillness on your back, or inviting some side-to-side rocking. And then asking yourself if you want to just roll to the side and come up to sit, or if you would like to rock up and down on the spine a couple of times. All right, and we gather ourselves up into some sort of comfortable seat. Pausing for a moment at this very special little space at the end of practice. Curious inner awareness, without any expectation, just turning that awareness in and asking yourself, how do I feel now? What has shifted? What has strengthened because of the work that I did on my mat today? And then we create this very strong intention to take the work of our practice out with us into the day, whatever you're about to go and do. Every once in a while, checking in. What is that sense of inner joy? How can I strengthen my own inner trust to have that natural next step of having this loving relationship with yourself? How do I take that with me? And we'll close the work of our practice, bringing the hands toward the very important heart center and taking a long Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. I hope that it is supportive to you in creating that better internal relationship. Thanks for practicing with me. You can head over to lauragyoga.com to stay up to date on the latest virtual classes, workshops, trainings. You can see the videos that make up the giant yoga therapy video library, and you can sign up for private sessions to work directly with me. I'll see you over there.